Tonight's event is being live captioned by Otter AI, the transcript of which you may access by clicking the red live link in the top left of your screen and selecting View Stream. The transcript will subsequently open in a new browser window. You can also click the CC button on the bottom of your screen as well. We have the honor of having ASL interpreter Cynthia Norman join us again in this space. Cynthia, thank you for laboring to restore relationships between deaf, hard of hearing, and hearing communities in your work, for advocating seamless access to poetry. Thank you for modeling what it means to understand and convey meaning. We are blessed to have you here. It is always a pleasure. If you have any Zoom questions or run into any difficulties, please don't hesitate to reach out to anyone with staff after their name, and they will support you in resolving any issues. Tonight's moderator, the lovely Corey Hutchinson, is adding a link to the chat now with Zoom tips and best practices. Please note that we are recording tonight's event. You are welcome to have your cameras on or off as you prefer, but please keep in mind that if you have your camera on, it's possible your title will be included in the archived video. In the words of Nima Gathiri, I ask, is it possible for us to laser focus in on love at the paces in which it already exists and allow that pace to inform our personal and collective work? Tonight, we are grateful for you joining us in the ongoing effort to build and nurture safer spaces where we can be moved and learn through feeling together. Thank you for imprinting the space with your care. We offer in return the grainy residue of memory, the milky salve of community. Roberto is now adding to the chat the Poetry Project statement on safer space. If this event were taking place in the Poetry Project's physical venue, we would be gathered in St. Mark's Church in the Bowery. St. Mark's Church is located on the unceded homeland of the Lenape people, Lenape Hoking. I am presently residing on the unceded land of the Muskogee Creek Nation and want to duly acknowledge the ongoing histories of enslavement in the Southern landscape. I thank my African ancestors who were forced to till this land. They are the original poets who freed themselves with song. Today, my voice comes from, with, and because of their songs of freedom. In The Black Shoals, Tiffany Lethabo King writes, I do not believe that genocide and slavery can be contained. Neither has edges, yet each is distinct. Each form of violence has its own way of contaminating, haunting, touching, caressing, and whispering to the other. Their force is particular, yet like liquid, as they can spill and seep into the spaces that we carve out as bound off and untouched by the other. It is true that the 5 civilized tribes made the choice to enslave Black people to prove their own humanity. It is true that as a Black person born and raised in the South, I occupy land that was never mine to occupy, except out of a survival I am still reckoning with. It is time that we acknowledge another truth. Black abolition and Native decolonization go hand in hand. Our futurity goes hand in hand. Corey is putting a link to a map in the chat now, not to endorse it as complete, but to invite you to join us in learning continually about the land we occupy, its history and ties, as a path toward deeper accountability. Now I want to introduce you to myself, the series, and the artists joining us today. Born and raised in Decatur, Georgia, I echo sociologist Ruha Benjamin's when I say that I come from many Souths. My guiding frameworks are derived from the multiplicity, vernacular, and inversion that I learned from my kin. They've taught me that viewing the world from a place of undersight, from the flip side, from the margin, can breed an infectious sense of possibility for artist, audience, and curator. Coming from the South, I work from a space of communion, comfort, and intimacy. I'm taken with discoveries and rediscoveries that allow for these tenets to swell in spaces that were once too small, thought too small to bear them. The title of this series, Getting Where We Have to Be, Some Other Than a Place, is a nod to two essays in Ntozake Shange's collection of writing, Lost in Language and Sound. It points to the vernacular poetics and landscapes that comprise the American South and the African diaspora more broadly. Today's program, Homegoing, Communion, Craft, Quarantine, and Play, is guided by the series theme, Language's Capacity to Bridge. Now I am excited to introduce two incredible Black feminist theorists, artists, archivists, organizers, and storytellers. Dr. Zenzile Isoke and Ego Alhiwe Sowinski. Dr. Zenzile Isoke is Associate Professor and Chair of Gender, Women, and Sexuality Studies at the University of Minnesota, Twin Cities. Drawing from the ideas of Black decolonial thinkers, Isoke writes the contemporary history of cities through the political struggles of self-identified Black and queer creatives and archivists of the Black diaspora. Her essays and poetry have been featured in several peer-reviewed journals and anthologies, including Souls, a critical journal of Black politics, culture and society, Gender, Place and Culture, Feminist Anthropology, and Palimpsest's Journal of Women, Gender, and the Black International. She is the author of Urban Black Women in the Politics of Resistance, published by Palgrave Macmillan in 2013. Ego Alhiwe Sowinski is an archivist, mixed media artist, currently pursuing a collaborative PhD at Chelsea College of Arts in Tate, Britain, on Jamaican-born sculptor Ronald Moody. She holds a Master of Arts in Archives and Record Management from the University of College London. She is a member of the Afrofeminist Transatlantic Collaboration, which maps and archives the cultural resistance of Black feminist artists in the UK and the Twin Cities. And she is the project lead and archivist of the Rita Keegan Archive Project. It's been such a pleasure to commune with you both in this capacity. Y'all are in for a treat. Without further ado, I will turn it over to your co-conveners of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bryn, our spectacular and generous host, and much thanks to the Poetry Project and all of those behind the scenes who made this offering possible. Specifically, event technician Matt D'Angelo, our moderator, Corey Hutchinson, and support staff, Roberto Montez, and the soulful and groovy ACL interpretation provided by Cynthia Norman. We express much gratitude.
Tonight's presentation explores poetics as a key element of the expressive archive, contemporary Black feminist survival in the COVID-19 era. We use poetics to present nonlinear, unscripted, spontaneous creative acts that forms the core of co-witnessing as an archival practice.
This project of homecoming is not about product, it is about process, finding and making home in unfamiliar places. This presentation encompasses music, poetry, image, and magic making.
A tree of relation is a visualization of the themes that flow within our practice. The tree visualizes a network of care and not belonging in the chaos of the storm of present day life. We wake up every day as the world is ending.
We are nourished and guided by the tidal undercurrents that are influenced by the energy of the moon instead of the disordered winds of this political moment. Our tree of relation is rooted in art, ancestors, elders, rest, Mother Nature, and play.
and mermaids.
Yes, mermaids.
The trunk of the tree of relation, made possible by roots that are nourished by vast and unseen subterranean rivers that give us life.
The strength, the trunk, the strength, health, and sturdiness of the tree is held by our trust in the friendship of would-be strangers who are made into kin by our experimentation.
Next, we're going to co-present a Black woman's flight poem written by Cynthia.
At this time, we can start and roll with the slide presentation. That's us. I'm Cynthia. There you go. Part 1. Hey, Black girl scholar, smash those disciplinary shackles. Your task is insurgent questioning.
All research begins with questions. What questions are you allowed to ask? What questions have you never been asked? What questions are you too afraid to ask?
Insurgent questioning delivers you into untold places we have yet to understand.
Locate those lost sites of Black insurrection.
Recover the ancient ways of Black female survival. Seek out encounters, make their writing a decolonial act.
On the page, freely dream of Blackness.
Refuse whiteness, refuse rigidity, refuse self-righteousness, refuse colonialism.
Be delicious, be brave, take risks.
Like Zora Neale Hurston, create a home style of Black feminist fieldwork to guide your sojourns through empire.
Brixton, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Nigeria. Black creative, fill with the Black other.
Make friends, listen closely, bear witness, ask questions.
Deepen friendships, listen softer, ask better questions.
Feel,
embody notes, sing and say, Black speak.
testify in your own tongue.
Study those notes, make stories, don't hold back.
Write truth.
Even when it hurts, share those truths.
You can't live long enough to understand the depths of your wisdom.
Don't let that stop you.
Black knowledge creates what whiteness can never destroy, liveness.
Study Gwendolyn Brooks, what ethics guided her archive of Black urban life in Brownsville.
Black trans scholar, you wondered but did not ask.
Can our encounters with anti-Blackness be generative, even recuperative? Can we invent new writing strategies that invite intimacy and connection rather than communal alienation and violence? Can we share in the unknown of Black life with others we have yet to understand? Can we make love with our melancholic crossings and our joyful ones too, even as we slave to death? Can Black mothers, others, tell the hidden other inside of us and the other lying in our lonely arms?
Yes.
Can we tell stories of Black people gendered, ungendered, transgender, who refuse gender, brown girl, male-bodied, Black femmes? How do we write present day histories in ways that make Black lives more livable?
Our sojourn, our wisdom, a response. Black bodies have always traveled the world, but not always on our own terms. Our worldliness, a terror experience of captivity, confinement, under, across, and back over the Atlantic. We became unhuman by way of slavers, rapists, imperialists, killers. Dear child, we survived the worst kinds of travel. Middle passage companions crouched, dead, dying, still breathing bodies. We embraced watery graves as a more humanly workable option than life as chattel, captives, tropes. We walked the waters back home. We flee today as fugitives from war, starvation, sex trafficking, attempted soul murder. Black girl scholar, fear not, we overcome. Yesterday in shackles, town to town, auction block to auction block, plantation to plantation. Our naked feet plotted the muddy banks of the Mississippi, Nashville to Louisville,
Louisville to St. Louis,
St. Louis to Memphis,
Memphis to Minneapolis,
Minneapolis to Duluth,
Duluth to Ontario.
always on the move and never outrunning race.
We fly.
Today, Newark to Havana, New York to Moscow, Tobago to Montreal, Ann Arbor to Palestine, Port-au-Prince to Philadelphia, Lagos to London, Mogadishu to St. Paul, Addis Ababa to Nairobi, Khartoum to Riyadh, Dakar to Paris, Beirut to Tel Aviv, Johannesburg to Dubai, Guatemala City to El Paso, Ferguson to San Juan.
Cosmopolitan travelers, Black trans woman, Black butch woman, Black femme woman, Black females.
You who refuse to conform.
Fly away and dream yourself back again.
Sing praise to those audacious survivors, mockers of social death.
Knowers of the unknowable, speakers of the unspeakable, refusers of coloniality.
Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman,
Ida B. Wells, Claudia Jones,
Zora Neale Hurston, Angela Y. Davis, Olive Morris,
Assata Shakur, Audre Lorde,
June Jordan, Sylvia Winter, Bell Hooks,
Miss Major Griffin Gracie,
fugitives,
refugees,
writers,
speakers,
insurgents,
ethnographers,
poets,
flight women.
stay and fight women. The next section is In Our Beginning, written by Ego Ahawe Sawinski.
There was a clear moment of activation. It was embedded in the symmetry of our movement, in the alcove. We danced. We danced together. We felt it. We felt it in that moment.
We felt it. We felt it in that moment.
We trusted it.
We did not question it.
Inherent light, the moment of activation. It can be like a village. The women of the village called your name from north, south, east, and west, said we were destined to meet, said we needed to meet, said we should speak. A friend, a neighbor, a collaborator, a quiet instigator, working together on an odyssey, understanding the possibilities of prophecy, an oracle in our midst. At one point, as I arrived back there, you came here. The second point of activation. Building context in both our worlds, water no barrier, only a conduit to the deepest of memories. Afro-feminist transatlantic collaboration we bought. We understood what this was for. Moving beyond, leaning into friendship, openness, solace, love, expression, building, imagining together, visualizing together, space carved. It grows. Even in our quiet vulnerability, it grows. Roots in the darkness, growing. Connections made, ancestral connections, copers. Your food, your kitchen has been nourishment to my soul. Plantain, rice and peas, collard greens, pumpkin soup, honey cornbread, sweet potatoes, yams, key lime pie. Your kitchen unpacked memories I thought I'd left behind. Trust, trusted, trusting.
I will do a roll call because an empty sack can't stand alone. Say their names, not the names of the dead, but the names of the living. Seek them out. Ein Bailey,
Dominique said Baron,
Amake Kubat,
Sage Carroll,
Keegan Zavi,
Lawrence Sezu,
Florence,
Amma Josephine Budge,
Kira Adebite,
Ajamu,
Rita Keegan,
Alexis Pauline Gums,
Shangadare,
Ingrid Pollard,
Lubena Hamid,
and Phyllis Chatham, Lady of the Lakes, Ancestral Whisperer, Magician, Oracle. The next selection is Phyllis of Lake Nokomis by Zinsele Ishoke.
Mermaid Fairy, Fish, Flesh, and Air, a fairy clown grandmother ghost with fire in her hair.
With fire in her hair.
In her hand are charms and coins she shares so freely with us all, tokens for the flight to freedom, play and possibility. Beyond this world, both young and old, both born and to be born.
Both born and to be born.
She carries her bells and seashells, eyes of Horus, sand and dirt. She teaches us to swallow earth.
She teaches us to swallow earth.
Her mermaid fairy knees leap frogs, sagging senior flesh across the pond. She dips and dives and casts her spells, teaching old girls to dance in their own shadows.
How to dance in their own shadows.
Hand in hand, we fall in love in the muddy waters of Lake Nokomis. We see our auras shimmer in the waters.
Our auras shimmer in the waters.
She weeps and cries and tells wise tales, talks until she's tired. From her tongue spills sacred truths that shove our spirits past harm's way. As we laugh and shake and gaze into the high noon sky, on our backs, we gaze into the sun.
We gaze into the sun.
She paints memories on our face. Sentences spill from her lips, long and lively, as she rambles on unencumbered, glints of gold light and caring brown eyes that see past our waking slumber.
See past our waking slumber.
Old world truths of medicine women, spell casters, reach out to her lips in slips and fragments, pictures and books and magazines. The mermaid places these bits of colored truths in 24-inch binders, filled with sacred texts of billowing clouds and half moons, oceans, pearls, and flower petals. Next to the smiling eyes of children weaving myth and dream into faceless Black dolls stuffed with cotton. They live with no breasts, no legs, no vulva, no areola, no clitoris, no labia, no sex. Sexist Black dolls painted with maps and scenes, pushing me further into relation.
Pushing us further in relation.
The next section is Being and Becoming Sisters of the Yam in Minnesota.
What does it take?
Seeing ourselves as enough.
We are enough.
You are enough.
Coexisting.
Coexisting.
Working with bits and pieces of fragmented dreams.
This is special.
It is special.
We honor it.
How? How do we honor it?
We meditate.
We become mermaids.
We travel.
We cook.
We build altars.
We make them special.
They are special.
We celebrate.
We make art.
What do we make?
We make dolls.
We collage.
We make magical ornaments.
We honor them.
We honor them.
We dance.
We celebrate.
We build fire.
We care for the fire.
We swim in water.
We let the water cleanse us.
We grow.
We plant seeds.
We harvest.
We let our voices float in the air.
We breathe.
Yes, we breathe.
We meditate.
We witness.
We co-witness.
We kindle Black relation.
We remember.
Yes.
Yes, we remember.
Remember. The next section of our presentation is on rest. We will share our contributions for rest, a transatlantic flexion in a 2020 collective of artists working between the UK and Minneapolis. We responded to the idea and practice of rest as an antidote, a rebellion, and a refusal. Central to the discussion is the motif of Amak Kubat's Rocking Revolution project and the blueprint of Kubat's Sick and Tired of Being Sick and Tired chair number 3. The chair was a starting point and anchor for numerous threads that weave together our conversations and work in its most expanded form, in its most expanded sense. The next selection is Working from a Place of Unrest, a Meditation by Ego Ahawe Sowinski.
Rest felt like it was in our reach. Unrest is present. Rest felt like it was in our reach. Unrest is present. Rest felt like it was in our reach. Rest, 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 unrest, 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 rest, 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 unrest, 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 unrest. Rest, 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 unrest, rest, unrest, rest, 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 unrest, 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 rest, 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 unrest, 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 unrest. Unrest was present. Rest is in our reach. Rest and Liberation in COVID-19 by Cynthia Shocking.
Black people have been conditioned to believe that resting, sleeping, thinking in the peace and quiet of our homes is unacceptable, even criminal. As slaves and as descendants of slaves, we were told that rest after the dawn of a new morning until the dusk of nightfall was a form of theft. Today, it is not unlike it was in the past. In our communities, we valorize phrases like, every day I'm hustling, on the grind, and keep it moving. We work and hustle and strive and compete with each other all day, every day until we collapse with exhaustion. But not before feeding our starved souls with unhealthy food, unhealthy media, and toxic forms of relating to our human and non-human relatives. In this way, we do the dirty work of capitalism. On December 19th, 1964, American apartheid activist, farm labor organizer, and pro-democracy rights activist, Fannie Lou Hamer, gave a speech detailing the labor exploitation of Black Mississippians. She explained, but some of the things I've got to say today may be a little sickening. People have said year after year, those people in Mississippi can't think. But after we would work 10 and 11-hour days for $3 lousy and couldn't sleep, we couldn't do anything else but think. She included the speech with the infamous phrase, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. I think Fannie Lou Hamer understood that rest was a precondition for liberation. When we rest, we undo the work of racial capitalism. Far too many people of color believe that we are lazy and undeserving when we take time to slow down, breathe deeply and slowly, and do nothing at all. We might do anything to avoid falling into the stereotypes produced by racism. We fear that if we slow down, then our families and communities might fall apart. Consequently, our relationship to work becomes a fear-based compulsion, driving us to mental, emotional, and physical dis-ease. Work is no longer a free choice that brings happiness to ourselves and others. Rather, it makes us all suffer. And on top of all of this, we refuse to rest. And some of us, a great many of us, simply cannot rest. Before COVID-19, we couldn't even fall asleep because our minds and spirits were sick and tired. COVID works as an unforgiving paradox for those of us who've been forced to stay in our homes, alone with our family members, pets, lovers, and friends, and nothing to do but rest. Some of us stay home with reduced income. We stay home with our technology. We stay home with our mind and habits and habit energies, interests and inclinations. What choices do we make when we have nowhere to go? What do we eat? What stories do we allow to flow into our consciousness? Over the last 6 weeks since the COVID-19 sub-quarantine, I have read or listened to Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky, Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler, and The Way of Tenderness by Earthlyn Manuel. In my time between grading papers and teaching, I take long walks through Prospect Park and have spent time revisiting an art form I learned about in middle school, dip pen calligraphy. Each of these activities has required quiet, or sometimes the ocean bowls and singing bells of artist Karma Moffett. This environment led to rest. long leisurely naps complemented by honey-sweetened Black tea upon awakening. This Black woman has lived alone, sometimes peacefully, sometimes overcome by fear, frustration, anger, and anxiety, especially when consuming news through mass media, who in their own way has narrated how the world responded to the novel virus. But this Black woman has also joyously rested. Even as Black people die from this disease of COVID, die prematurely as we always seem to do in this anti-Black world. Even more of us have been presented with a challenge: how to make rest and the practices of slowing down an integral part of our lives, a force for transformation and liberation rather than continued suffering.
Our final route of exploration is our response through play and co-creation. Afrofeminist forms of cultural organization and knowledge making in London and the Twin Cities. Our project magnifies and gives center stage to the visual, material, and performative characteristics of art-centered transatlantic collaboration. We've been asking, how does Afrofeminist collaborative art making serve a critical function in the formation of diaspora as both political aspiration and solidarity for feminist futures in urban settings? We seek to create the intimacies necessary to gain access to the Black closet of Afrofuturist, feminist, artist activists who are unacknowledged and under-curated works, who are unacknowledged and whose under-curated works, archives, contemporary protest, histories of the Black diaspora metropolis.
So this last section will basically give a description of the laboratories of rest, dream, and co-creation that gave birth to Ego and I's work. It's called Laboratories of Rest, Dream, and Co-Creation.
Death, breath, and rememory, rhizomatic connections, honoring spaces to heal, dancing and flow, moments of sweetness, encounters.
Death and rememory, ancestral connection, spending time in the archive, spending time in the neighborhood.
World making across diasporas and ocean, lakes and rivers.
Coming together to breathe, responsive.
Unlearning the reactivity of trauma and learning a new response.
New diasporas, dreaming of a place where we were not supposed to be dreaming.
Archives were never meant for us. Flash agents, creating our own methodologies and becoming literate about ancestral listening.
An unnameable thing, magic, opacity, and I can just be. Being able to show up as your whole self, no calculation.
Outside of mathematics of the wake, so much has to be explained.
The role of trust, what it feels like to trust, what it feels like to be trusted.
Creating Black cultural space to grieve, creating new grieving rituals.
Learning how to practice trust.
Spaces to cultivate us.
That
are
about us, that are about us. Thank you.
Wow, what a beautiful call and response. I want to invite everyone to flood the chat, unmute your screens, unmute your mics, and just share your appreciation of the lovely words that have been shared today by Zinzele and Ego, because that was truly a delight, a journey, really. Yeah, a journey. Ego, when you were reading the rest poem, I closed my eyes and I just sat with it, and it was very meditative. And the mermaids, y'all promised I was filled with joy to hear that poem, Zinzile. Thank you so much. Yeah, continue to flood the chat. This was so rich, yes, and powerful. And thank you also for bringing other folks into the space who are actually here, like Amoke Kabat, but also like Shangodare, Alexis Pulling Gum, which is a beautiful chorus of Black feminist forces, lights. It was truly a delight. And yeah, I just want to thank you all for joining us today. I'm Bryn Evans. I don't even know if I said my name today, but I'm Bryn. And this is the second event in the Getting Where We Have to Be Some Other Than a Place series. Our next event is in late January. We're going to be joined by Zora's Daughters, a beautiful podcast, and we're going to be discussing homemaking, which we got a beautiful touch and treat of tonight as well. So yeah, continue to share your appreciation in the chat, on, off screen, what have you. Thank you again to Cynthia. Amazing. I love working with you, Cynthia. I love working with you, Cynthia.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, so that's it for tonight. We also, I just want to shout out both of the texts that were linked earlier by Zinzele and Ego. I can copy and paste them actually, in case y'all are looking for more work or other ways to support the lovely artists with us today. Truly a treat. Dropping them now. And with that, have a great night. I think we're gonna close off with some music. Ego and Zinzile, do y'all have anything else to say?
Well, just thank you for the invitation to participate and have the opportunity to kind of experiment and try something in this kind of forum. So thank you. And thank you, Cynthia, so much for setting the tone and the vibes in the beginning. Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks to the organizers and to all the beautiful people in the audience. Shout out to Amaki Kobad and Phyllis Chatham, the Lady of the Lakes, and Alexis, and all these just wonderful people who I can see. Ariel, I see you. If folks want to enable their cameras, it's great. But thank y'all for the opportunity. Thank you, Bryn, for the invitation. What an honor. Thank you. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, and thank you, Cynthia, for the soulfulness and putting. I'm gonna watch it so I can see how my poetry look on your body when you're expressing yourself.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night.
Good night.
Night.